All right, let's jump right in, because we're about to flip the script on how you probably think about cybersecurity. We're all kind of conditioned to see it as this constant war, a battle of good guys versus bad guys, where the goal is to stop every single hacker. But what if I told you that's not really the point at all? The real game is something way more interesting and a lot more strategic. And this right here, this is the key to the whole thing. Just think about it for a second. Is an airport's job to ground every single plane just to be perfectly safe? No way. That would defeat the entire purpose, right? Its real job is to manage this incredible flow of people and planes, to handle all that complexity, and to deal with the inherent risks, all to keep things moving safely and efficiently. Well, cybersecurity, it's the exact same idea.
So what does that really mean in practice? What does it look like to run your digital world like a busy airport? How do you figure out what's an acceptable risk versus something you absolutely have to shut down? Well, that's exactly what we're about to unpack.
So here's our flight plan for this explainer. First, we're going to look at the real problems cybersecurity is trying to solve. Then we'll dive into the 3 core principles that are like the laws of physics for this field. After that, we'll explore the 2 main fronts where risk comes from, and finally, we'll open up the actual playbook leaders use to make the tough calls.
Okay, first up, what problem is cybersecurity actually trying to solve? And I'll tell you right now, it's not about building some impenetrable digital fortress. That's a myth. The real fundamental problem is this. We operate in a world that is just swimming in digital risk. It's everywhere. So the goal isn't to get rid of every single threat. That's literally impossible. The real strategic goal is to wrangle that risk, to manage it down to a level that your business, or even just you, can live with, so you can keep doing what you need to do.
And this risk is everywhere for 4 pretty simple reasons. First, technology is interconnected. I mean, think about it. Your phone talks to your car, which talks to the cloud. Second, our data is now incredibly valuable, which makes it a huge target. Third, the systems we build are just mind-bogglingly complex. And complexity is where vulnerabilities love to hide. And finally, maybe the most important one, we're human. People make mistakes. Each one of these things makes our attack surface, our total exposure to danger, bigger and bigger.
All right, so that sets the stage. Now, to manage all that risk, the entire field of cybersecurity is built on 3 foundational, non-negotiable principles. You can think of these as the rules of the game.
First up is confidentiality. This one's pretty straightforward. It's about keeping secrets secret. It means making sure that sensitive information is only seen by the people who are actually supposed to see it. In our airport analogy, this is like making sure the passenger list for a flight isn't just plastered on the giant departure screen for the whole world to read.
Next, we have integrity. This is all about trust. It's the guarantee that the data you're looking at is accurate and hasn't been secretly messed with. You have to be sure that the information is the real deal. So for example, integrity is what prevents someone from hacking into the system and changing your boarding pass from Paris to Timbuktu without anyone noticing.
And third, there's availability. And honestly, this one is absolutely critical. A system or a piece of data is completely useless if you can't get to it when you need it. For an airport, this is the whole point, making sure runways are clear so flights can take off and land. If the system goes down, everything grinds to a halt. Okay, so we have our core principles, but where are all these risks actually coming from? Well, while there are a million different specific threats out there, they all basically come from 2 main fronts. On one side, you have all the risks coming from the technology itself. The interconnected systems, the complicated cloud platforms, the networks. That's the technical front. But on the other side, you have the risks that come from human behavior. This is the employee who clicks on a phishing link, the customer who uses a weak password, or even a malicious insider. You have to defend both fronts at the exact same time.
So how do we manage the technical stuff? Well, first, we're always balancing that CIA triad we just talked about: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We also use a layered defense. It's just like at the airport. You have check-in, then security screening, then the gate check. You never rely on just one thing. You combine tools for prevention, like a firewall, with tools for detection, and you have a plan for how to respond when something inevitably goes wrong. But here's the thing. Managing the human risk is often a lot harder. This is where you work on countering social engineering with good training, so people can actually spot those sketchy emails. You design systems that make it harder for people to make accidental mistakes. And you put in strict access controls, so people can only touch the data they absolutely need to do their jobs. You can't patch a human, but you can train them and limit the potential damage. And all of this brings us to our final section, the playbook. How do leaders take all this information, the principles, the different fronts of risk, and then make smart, strategic decisions on what to do about it all? At its heart, risk management really boils down to this surprisingly simple formula. Risk equals a threat, like a hacker, times a vulnerability, like an old piece of software, times the potential impact, like losing 1 million customer records. This isn't just a textbook theory. This is literally the tool that leaders use to figure out what to worry about first.
So once a risk is identified and measured, leaders have 4 basic moves they can make. 1, they can mitigate it. That means putting in some kind of control to make it less likely or less damaging. 2, they can transfer it, which usually means buying cyber insurance. 3, they can avoid it by just stopping the risky activity altogether. Or, and this is the one that surprises a lot of people, they can officially accept it. They can look at the risk and decide, you know what, the cost to fix this is way higher than the potential damage, so we're just going to live with it.
And that is really the big takeaway here. Cybersecurity isn't a product you can buy or a project with a finish line. It's a never-ending, continuous process of making strategic business choices. It's about constantly weighing costs and benefits and choosing where to build your defenses based on what truly matters to you. So I'll leave you with this final thought. If you were the manager of your own personal digital airport, your email, your social media, your online banking, which risks have you decided are too expensive or just too inconvenient to fix? Which risks have you chosen, whether you realized it or not, to simply accept? Something to think about.